Thank you to our distinguished chairman and our ranking members for holding this hearing, and thanks to the witnesses for sharing your time today. Mr. Chairman, I kind of feel like a NASCAR driver, but I'm not sure which cap to wear, my ag cap or my financial services cap today, but I'm honored to get to be a part of this hearing and hear from these august witnesses. We'd like to begin today with Mr. Culkin. Under Mr. Massad's suggested approach, exchanges that don't list Bitcoin or Ether would be excluded from regulation. Mr. Massad testified that U.S. exchanges collectively list around 400 digital assets. The SEC has indicated that there are nearly 10,000 digital assets being traded on hundreds of platforms. Do you think it is problematic if we don't regulate the trading of digital assets and exchanges that don't list Bitcoin or Ether for trading?
So, Congressman, thank you for the question. There are a number of digital commodities in addition to just Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I think, to Mr. Durgee's point earlier, that trend will continue. And so creating an artificial restriction to only include those digital commodities, I suspect we would be back here speaking with you again in the future.
Again, Mr. Culkin, I've heard some of my Democratic colleagues, particularly on the Financial Services Committee, claim that because Gary Gensler has declared that nearly all digital assets are securities, that we should just treat them all as such. Do you think this is the right approach, to do nothing and let Mr. Gensler just have full control of the space?
So Congressman, I don't, but I don't think that that's the best approach, because nearly 70% of digital commodities traded today have already been deemed commodities by the CFTC as a body, as opposed to any chairman, commissioner, or staff. And so I think we need to be thoughtful about which products are commodities and should be treated as commodities, just like oil or soybeans or interest rates.
I personally would liken Chair Gensler's approach to my son Sam's approach. He's 2. When it comes to toys. He wants to hold all the toys, but he doesn't want anyone else to be able to play with the toys at the same time. And so I thank you for your answer. Mr. Santori, Mr. Massad testified that Congress should not pursue legislation creating new asset classes under the jurisdiction of the CFTC or the SEC because it would generate confusion and lead to disputes. Do you agree?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. I don't agree. I think that what we have today is abundant confusion and complexity. We have two of our financial regulators here in the United States alleging contradictory positions over the same asset. They have alleged that the same asset, one under oath, sworn in a complaint, is both a security and a commodity, but it doesn't fit into the narrow classifications of assets that can be both, the future. What we have today is the untenable position. What we have today is the unending complexity and litigation that is leaving consumers unprotected and leaving us as a global organization unable to plan and unable to invest here in the United States.
Mr. Culkin, would you like to respond to that as well?
No, I agree with Mr. Santori.
Thank you. Mr. Santori, it is essential for any market structure legislation to set rules for the custody of digital assets so that customers can have confidence that their digital assets actually are where an intermediary says they are. Digital assets raise, of course, several novel issues when it comes to custody that must be addressed. Mr. Santori, as we think about how to apply these protections to digital assets, do you have any recommendations for how we should address issues related to custody?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. Custody is something we believe that is critical to consumer protection. We believe it's critical to our ethos. It is part of Kraken's ethos. The failings that we've seen over the last year have had quite a bit to do with lax corporate governance controls, among them being custody. Kraken does offer custody for its users. We segregate our users' funds and their assets. But I will say that there is no such thing as physical segregation on a blockchain because these assets are digital. They are not physical. Custody is an important thing to get right for this Congress. I would say that the most important The most important element of this is prescribing uniform standards for custody across market participants so the consumers know how their assets are being custodied and that they can have confidence in it.
Thank you, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.